what was your takeaway on the Bears' 28-21 loss at Green Bay? How much better were they in the second half? Do you believe they were going to win on that drive at the end of the game?
Boy, I was really enjoying the end of that game, and I was really just kind of, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but I was sitting there watching that, and I kept thinking, if they can score a touchdown here, wouldn't it be great if they tried to run Kyle Monangai with 3 linemen carrying him over the line? Just do one of those charges like we saw earlier in the game. I was kind of chuckling to myself, imagining various ways they could have gone for it and what they might have been able to do. So I felt fairly confident. They moved the ball pretty well. I think when you go back and look at that game, I wonder if they'd have been better off running the 4th down play on 3rd down and then on 4th down trying to power for a yard or something, even if they came up short. It was just kind of the way I was looking at the game. But it's a pity. I would have loved to see what would have happened and how that would have ended if they managed to get in the end zone. But I seen the Bears win a lot of late games, and I felt like there was some momentum. Didn't you feel like things were going pretty well and they were doing well on offense? And I was hopeful. I don't know if I believed they were going to score, but I thought the possibility existed for sure.
Oh, I thought the possibility existed, and it's a really interesting conversation because you were on the road. Would you have gone for 2?
Yes.
Would you have actually gone for 2?
Because you were giving up big explosive plays, and they were probably going to score
a million
in
times. Yes.
A million times. Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not always had to go for 2 guy.
I think in that situation it would have been awesome.
That would have been wildly, wildly interesting to see how that all would have played out. And I think DJ Moore, if he would have gotten the ball to DJ Moore walks into the end zone. I mean, literally just tiptoes into the end zone. The tale of 2 halves. I mean, the fact that the Bears were even in this game in the second half, I don't know if you could have played worse. They actually got a takeaway. Jordan Love, we talked about it on Friday, the stat. Jordan Love, 1-3-1 if you can pick him off. Bears pick him off and go 3 and out again. 3 and out again. They had negative 11 or 12 yards after 2 series. I mean, just awful.
And those are the 2 series,
Packers
right?
get the ball to start the second half. The Bears defense steps up in a big way. And then the Bears, every time they had the ball in the second half, were in the red zone. Every time. Mm-hmm. So 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and a pick.
They dominated the second half. Let's start with the 2-point conversion. I don't have any doubt Ben Johnson was going for it. Do you think a coach who's going to take his shirt off after a victory is going to pass up on a chance to have the ultimate flex? That would have been the ultimate flex. Going for 2 at Lambeau Field to win the game.
What a great finish.
That would have been a great finish.
Lost.
And they could have done it had they executed that last pass that Caleb Williams just came short. And the Bears just came short. And it was a game that at halftime you wondered if it was going to go the other direction. They made some adjustments. They neutralized Micah Parsons. They did some things schematically that were smart. And I think when you look overall, it was a discouraging loss, but an encouraging day. That's an odd thing to say when you lose to the Packers, but you are used to being so far away from the Packers. You closed the gap and you increased your confidence. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yesterday in the NFL this year doesn't really make any sense. The Bears are the number 1 seed now. They're number 7. They can't afford to have a letdown this week. That's the one thing you fear as a coach, as a fan, as an analyst, whatever, because that was such a good way to handle the second half. They did.
It's time for the Extra Point with Mully and Haugh on 670 The Score.
Were you at all encouraged by the Bears staying in the game versus the Packers? They dropped from the top to 7th overall in the NFC with that loss. Will they wind up as a playoff team, and what happens with them over the next 2 games, in your opinion?
It depends how you want to look at it. It depends how you view things. But if your perspective is that this Bears season, they have created a little bit of a cushion. They could afford to happen what happened yesterday. And they still are in the playoff hunt. They still are in the playoffs. If the season ended today, they would still be the 7th seed with a postseason appearance, the first one in too long. Now, what happens Sunday? They cannot have a letdown. We need to talk about it. They need to address it. They need to make sure that it doesn't happen. They can't come out flat. They can't come out overconfident. They can't be looking ahead to Saturday night, December 20th, in the rematch with the Packers. They still can win these next 2 games. And then they could head to San Francisco and see what happens there, because that's shaping up to be the last 2 weeks of the season are de facto playoff games. Actually, it could be the last 3. So you want to definitely treat this Browns game like you're getting ready for the stretch run and relevant football, unlike we have seen here in a long time this late in the season. So what happened yesterday doesn't have to be the death knell for hope. It doesn't have to be anything other than you lost a game to your rival, but the rivalry has been revived. And it is because of Ben Johnson, because of the running game, because of Caleb Williams, all the reasons that we're going to talk about. You came close. You're 1 play away. So build on that, but don't make too much of that. Find the happy medium, because you don't want to be too overconfident coming off a loss.
Don't let yesterday's loss lead to a return to Soldier Field loss. I believe the Bears will win both the games coming up at Soldier Field. That 49ers game will be awfully tough. The 49ers are in 6th, and the Lions are in 8th. The Bears are right sandwiched between the 2 of them, right? So very, very interesting. And if you take a look at what the Lions have coming up, they have the Rams next.
Yeah.
Then they have the Steelers. Then they have the Vikings, and they're at the Vikings. And then they finish with the Bears. And the Vikings looked pretty good yesterday, or do the Commanders just stink that bad?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Look, I am encouraged by the Bears and the way they played in that game and the way that they fit into that game. And I think they've had a lot of good things go their way this year. That was one that, just a rare game that they fouled at the end of, and that was a really important atmosphere and a really good thing for them to go through as this whole season has been. I do believe they'll wind up as a playoff team, but I think they've got to win these next 2 games to do so. I really think it's that important, and we'll see what happens moving on from there. But I mean, this is not college football. This is not high school. You are not allowed a letdown game. You are not allowed in the NFL to not take every opponent seriously. When you hear people talk about, well, it could be a trap game, that tells you right there. Let them know. Hey, don't get caught in a trap. What are you doing? You don't let that happen to you. So you show up, you play your rear end off, and you should be able to beat Cleveland at home on Soldier Field. And guess what? Then it's the revenge game. Then it is getting back at the Green Bay Packers. Then it is figuring out how to limit their explosive plays and getting more of your own. So hopefully it'll be a more complete victory. The best thing the Bears did in that game yesterday, I guess, is that they didn't commit a lot of penalties. They really did clean it up, and they really did enough to kind of challenge for that. But they were inconsistent in the first half, and then they recovered in the second half. You need an entire game, and they should work to be a more complete team to get that done.